of the Northwest tomorrow. It's all on a grand scale, but will it be loved or loathed? BBC GMR's Alan Beswick went there today with Manchester-based architect Roger Stevenson, who's responsible for some designs in the Castlefield and Oldham Street areas of the city.
This is the Trafford Centre. It's a great big shopping shed on the banks of the Manchester Ship Canal, just by the sewage works. Tomorrow, for the great big opening day, they're expecting 70,000 people. Judging by the traffic jam this morning, most of them are already here. It's a nice enough place. I like the look of it, but then that's just me. What do the architects think? Roger?
Ever since man's been standing on 2 feet, he's been making buildings to reflect the time that he finds himself in. And cavemen had caves, Romans had temples, and if this is what we have now in our civilization, we've got a lot of problems. What this is a collection of large boxes dressed up with bits and pieces of styles from previous civilizations from around the world. We've got Egyptian references here, and we've got Renaissance references there, and goodness knows what those candles are referring to. I haven't the faintest idea.
Well, you may be right, Roger, about the outside, but you can't deny inside. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Well, gorgeous it may be, but it's not architecture. I've got the feeling we've just walked into a religious website.
Well, all right, but that's appropriate, isn't it? Shopping, it's the modern religion.
Well, it may be, but it's not architecture. And it's a great big missed opportunity. This should have been about today. It should have been contemporary design, not reproductions of bits of the past.
But what about it all? As a reproduction of the past, is it a good reproduction?
Well, it isn't a very good reproduction. It's quite skillfully done. The workmanship is incredible, but the styles are mixed up anyway. You know.
I just like the idea that Manchester people get to shop in gold leaf. That's a wonderful thought. So, Roger, you don't like the religious bit. Well, what about this? This is gorgeous. It's like walking through ancient Egypt.
Oh, this is not architecture. This is a stage set at best.
But it's a nice stage set. Come on, let's go in a burial chamber.
It's made of cardboard, isn't it?
It's good cardboard, pretty cardboard. This is Happy Town, New Orleans. You must like this.
Well, this is not New Orleans. This is the middle of Trafford Park Industrial Estate, near to Manchester. And this is not how Manchester got itself great in the 19th century. Why does it need to do this now?
Look around, it needs to do it because it works. It's magical. Come on, Roger, we're here. We're on an ocean-going liner. The wind's going through your hair. It's absolutely fabulous. Manchester deserves something like this, and the millions of the people that come here, they're going to love it.
Well, that's the one area where I've got to agree with you. I think that's going to be incredibly popular.
Hey, come on, Roger. Cheers to the Trafford Centre. Marvellous. Good coffee, too.
Well, we'll all find out soon, tomorrow, in fact, because North West Tonight will be coming live from the Trafford Centre. That's tomorrow night.
And now, a special edition of North West Tonight with Gordon Burns at the Trafford Centre.
The £600 million Trafford Centre opens its doors to the public for the first time. Tonight, we report on the frantic last-minute dash to get it ready on time, on the implications for the region, and the public's verdict on day one. Good evening and welcome to North West Tonight. Magnificent or monstrous, love it or loathe it, it is here and it's here to stay. The North West Centre today opened its doors to the shoppers of the North West, thousands of them for the very first time. From what was a 300-acre wasteland, 3,000 people have built what is now one of the largest out-of-town shopping centres in Europe. Well, only yesterday this whole area was something like a building site, but an army of workers went flat out through the night to get it ready just in the nick of time for today's big opening ceremony. Our business correspondent, Gary Cohn, reports on the frantic last-minute preparations.
Less than 24 hours before the big opening, and to the untrained eye, this looks like a shopping centre which won't be ready.
I want you to drive the scissor lift over to New Orleans. Round that way and go in, put that to the banister, to the railing. All right?
Beryl Moore is one of hundreds of contractors who've been working around the clock. Responsible for the artificial flora and fauna, she's now looking forward to a holiday.
Lots of long hours, yeah. It's worth it in the end, though. It looks really good, don't you think? I do. I think everybody's worked really hard. And they've all been a good team to work with.
27 months of construction means a lot of dust, and when it comes to thousands of pounds of gold leaf, it's a job which can only be done at the end.
I've been here since May, so these are just the finishing touches. Although we are coming back at night time to do some things that we couldn't quite manage to get to.
While the tidying goes on outside, inside the stores, it's time for those last-minute briefings.
And then at 5 o'clock, really useful time, the homewares fashion offers are going to walk you around each area to talk about the concepts again.
Selfridges opens its first store outside London. Staff here, at other stores and in the centre itself are expected to give a polished performance. As the night goes on, so does the work, non-stop.
Just doing the decoration, getting the last-minute bits ready and trying to get ready for opening, really.
It's been a bit of a long night for you,
It has been, yeah. Ready for bed now.
With a couple of hours to go, an eerie calm descends on the centre, just time for a final clean. Outside, the sheer size hits some of the visiting shoppers for the first time. The much-expected traffic chaos early on didn't happen, but it was a different case for those trying to leave later in the day. 10 o'clock, and for many compulsive shoppers eager to be first through the door, it's time to give the malls the once-over.
As the day has gone on, more and more people have been crowding through the Trafford Centre's doors. Traders here will be hoping it's more than just the day one curiosity factor. At town and city centres nearby, they'll be hoping they're not losing these customers for good.
It depends where you live. It'd be more convenient for us to come here than get a bus or train to Manchester. So it's really nice. There's a lot more here as well under one roof, isn't there?
I probably wouldn't come here like I would go to Bolton, but I certainly will come fairly regularly.
And as Christmas approaches, it's likely to get even busier. Gary Keown, North West Tonight at the Trafford Centre.
Well, later in the programme we'll be reporting on who may lose out because of the Trafford Centre, and we'll be seeing how two Blackburn mums got on trying to find their way around. But right now it's the rest of the day's news, so back to the studio and to Martin Henfield.
Centres in Europe. Gordon Burns is at the Trafford Centre.
Welcome back. Well, despite all the hype about the Trafford Centre, not everybody is set to benefit from it. Indeed, there's been a long history of opposition to it. The owners, Peel Holdings, fought a bitter 10-year legal battle that went all the way to the House of Lords before they won approval. The worry is that shoppers and town centres right across the region will suffer because of this. Our Community Affairs correspondent, Michelle Clifford, reports.
Go shopping with Harry Cunningham in Warrington and you'd be forgiven for thinking he's a minor celebrity. Everywhere he goes, he meets someone he knows.
Hello, Harry. Hello, how are you doing? Not so bad, thank you.
Like many pensioners, a trip to town for Harry is as much a social as a shopping event, which is why he plans to steer clear of the Trafford Centre. It's too big for him by far.
You'll be almost like the man that didn't exist. You'll be quite anonymous. You'll be just one individual lost in a crowd of people, and that anonymity is absolutely appalling, quite frankly.
Harry's content, indeed determined to stay loyal to his town. The problem is, if the predictions of some are right, he might be left with a lot less choice. Towns across the northwest could lose huge amounts of trade to Trafford. Shops could be forced to close. A recent study in the northwest painted a gloomy picture for the region. Even towns many miles from the Trafford Centre are thought to be at risk. Blackburn, for example, an hour's drive away, could lose as much as 15% of its trade to Trafford over the next 3 years. Blackpool, Chester and Birkenhead also face significant losses. But the closer you get to the Trafford Centre, the more worrying things look, with Altrincham, Stockport and Warrington facing potential losses of 25%. But retailers aren't the only ones who need to worry. Many families will treat a trip to the Trafford Centre as a day out, spending their leisure time and money there.
Because there is a large element of leisure and entertainment also within the centre, I think there is going to be some adverse impact on the surrounding areas vis-a-vis leisure centres and entertainment centres as well. So I think we need to look at the impact right across the three areas, just the shopping, leisure and entertainment.
But places like Warrington aren't taking the threat of Trafford lying down. The town has plans for a loyalty card rewarding people who shop locally. Retailers and the council hope the effort will pay off and the novelty of Trafford will wear off.
We are looking, I think, to make new investments in the town centre, to make it more of a community experience. Whilst going to Trafford doubtless will be an exciting experience, it will be an event. And shopping in Warrington is a thing that happens day in, day out. And we want to improve the quality of the shopping experience for people here in Warrington.
Of course, there is one obvious advantage the Trafford Centre has over places like Warrington. If you go shopping there, you're unlikely to get wet. The unpredictable British weather aside, the people of Warrington are desperate to find the silver lining in the cloud being cast by Trafford. Michelle Clifford, North West Tonight, Warrington.
Well, joining me now is James Lindsay, the Business Director for the Trafford Centre, and Paul Rice, Director of the Association of Town Centre Management. James Lindsay, first of all, the charge is that despite making lots of money here, as you may well do, the big success you may well be here, the rest of the region will suffer as a result of that. What do you have to say?
Well, for the last 3 years now, the Trafford Centre has very much been of the belief that we will pull from small amounts of money from many parts and not one big chunk from one particular area. And we believe that to be the case.
But, I mean, the thousands of shoppers, I mean, you're expecting something like 30 million in a year who come here, clearly aren't going wherever they normally went to.
But also the people who will come into the Trafford Centre will come from as far north as Cumbria, as far south as Birmingham, over into Yorkshire and into Liverpool. And some of those people will not normally come to the northwest to shop. And that's what we want to be able to do, is to bring further people into the northwest catchment area.
So Paul Rice, I mean, he feels that the region as a whole won't suffer that much. What's your view?
Well, I think that depends on what the towns do themselves. Research has shown that where there have been regional centres elsewhere, those towns that have actually got their act together have been able to survive quite comfortably. Those that have sat back and done nothing have been the ones that have struggled.
Right. But, I mean, is it just the shopping centres that would suffer, or is it beyond that as well?
Well, I think with this centre, it's potentially beyond that, because there is a large leisure input into this centre, so that is obviously an extra concern.
So how can these town centres compete with the likes of this?
I don't think they should go head-to-head. I think they need to concentrate on their own strengths, the fact that they are the centre of their own communities and have been for hundreds of years, and have had to change over those hundreds of years, and indeed they'll continue to. And the Trafford Centre is just one problem.
Right, well, James Lindsay, I mean, what about today? I mean, how well has it gone for you? There have been some people criticising the traffic, the car parking situation. What have you got to say with that?
Well, today the Trafford Centre has had a terrific day. I mean, we've probably seen the best shopping centre launch in terms of numbers coming into the building today.
What about the niggles there were about people saying they couldn't get parked? They were directed to the wrong car parks.
Yes, but we're a new development, and also people are coming in for the first time. It'll take a couple of trips for people to settle down. We had one problem with people going off the car park this afternoon, which was sorted out in 30 minutes. OK, we'll leave it there. Thank you both very much indeed.
Well, love it or loathe it, as I said, it is here. So the big question is, what is it really like inside? Well, earlier, I went for a walk around. Well, this is the heart of the centre. That dome, two-thirds of the size of the one at St Paul's Cathedral, and indeed religious symbolism everywhere. They're calling this a cathedral to the consumer. And no expense has been spared. They've even splashed out £40,000 on the gold leaf capping to these circles of pillars around here. This is Regent Crescent with its malls and walkways, but don't expect to get round all the shops in the centre in one day, because there's 3 miles of them. And guess how much they expect you and I to spend in the course of a year? £13 billion. It's not all high street shops. This is the Festival Village. Got a market feel to it. Lots of smaller independent retailers. Time to ask some people what they think about it. This lady here, what do you make of it all?
I think it's wonderful. It's really big, spacious and airy feel. You don't feel trapped, hemmed in. It's lovely.
You'd come here for what, half a day, a whole day, what?
A whole day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
OK, let's move on down. Come in here. Hello? What do you make of it all?
It's great stuff. It's great.
Is it easy to get round with baby and pram?
Yeah, it certainly is, yeah. It wasn't so easy to park today, but I'm sure it will be when everybody's sorted it out.
No trouble parking, not at all. We were here at 10 to 10. Not a problem. Brilliant.
Do you have any problem getting here, getting in with the traffic?
Over the road.
We walked over the bridge to get in. We're local.
But all the cars seem to get in all right. So there we are. The general verdict is they like it, and it's spacious. And finally, there is the Orient. Looks a bit more like a cruise liner than a shopping centre, but this is the entertainment area. It's full of restaurants, a cinema, even a bowling alley. And when the rest of the centre closes down in the evening, well, you can party on here till after midnight. Well, the real test of a shopping centre this big is how easy it is to find your way around it, especially if you're struggling with young children. Well, we asked two Lancashire mums to road test it for us, and Eleanor Moritz went with them.
This is the first time we've been to Trafford Centre, and I'm Julie, and this is Courtney. And I'm Helen, and this is Ross. We travelled today from Blackburn, and it took us about 40 minutes to get here, which wasn't as bad as we thought, really. The only thing we couldn't find was the parking. There was nowhere to park for mothers and babies, so we just had to park anywhere, but never mind.
Let's do some shopping.
Let's have a look what's on offer.
Get stuck, Julie. These doors could do with being automatic. It's hard work when you're on your own with a pram.
We're in Selfridges at the moment. It's the biggest one outside London, and it's absolutely fantastic. Right, so where are you?
We need to find
toilets.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Right, we're after the baby changing station, and it's quite straightforward, this map, and there's plenty of signs around as well. The toilet facilities are really good. They've got separate parent and child ones, as well as a baby changing unit and a separate breastfeeding room as well.
The baby changing facilities are very good. They have seat belts to tie the child to make it safe. I've actually brought my own nappies, but they do provide nappies. But they're rather expensive at £1 each.
Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy.
Plenty of variety of restaurants. The only thing was I did have to queue for quite a while. There's plenty going on for the children, and it looks fine. It's done out like a ship. Why don't we see what the people think about it?
Excuse me, do anything for the BBC? Can you tell me what you think of the centre, please?
It's absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. I feel kind of the facilities for the babies are excellent. You've got breastfeeding facilities, nappy changing. They've been really good with the kids. There's entertainment. It's really good.
I think it's very good. The only thing that I have found is that it's difficult to find anything.
Excellent. There's a lot of baby changing facilities and really big as well.
There's a really good play area for the children, which holds 100, and there's also a creche for over 2. And now we've done all our shopping, it's time for the kids to have some fun.
You can drive my car. Yes, I'm gonna be a star. Baby, you can drive my car, and baby, I love you. Beep, 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 yeah.
Well, it's the weather next. I can tell you what it's like here. It's been showery and not very warm at all, but let's find out what's in store over the next 24 hours or so. Here's Diane Oxbury.
Good evening. Well, I think the Trafford Centre is the only safe place to be to avoid the weather over the next few days.
Agreeing with Envy because she's a bit of a shopaholic. If you want a verdict, well, I'm not going to give you one. All I'll say is I must have asked 100 people here what they thought of it, and without exception, and I mean without exception, they said they loved it. All I can say is we're off shopping. Good night.
If you have any comments about items on North West Tonight, you can contact our newsline on 0845 30 630 27 or email us on nwt@bbc.co.uk.
where can you hear strains of opera and flamenco and capture the atmosphere of the last night of the proms under a starlit sky. On September the 12th in Hyde Park, the BBC presents Proms in the Park, an unmissable concert of popular classics with Montserrat Caballé, Tasman Little, Wayne Marshall, Paco Peña, and the finale of the last night of the proms, relayed live from the Royal Albert Hall. For further information, please ring 0990 143 109.
The daughter, the mother, the husband, the lover. It's all getting a bit too close for comfort. Something's got to happen in half an hour. Back for a new series, first on BBC One, the return of Mrs. Awkward.